it's Lauren. I am just hopping on to do a video about melatonin because I keep seeing on Facebook groups that random people are just willy-nilly recommending other people who are talking about their kids having sleep problems for them to give their kids prescribed melatonin. And I just want to talk about that because I think that perhaps people don't really have an understanding of the implications of long-term use of melatonin for children and for adults actually. And I know that there are a lot of people here who have children struggling with sleep problems and ADHD and anxiety and all these things. So I thought I'd hop on and give a bit of information about this so you can, as usual, make an informed decision when it comes to your children's health. It's going to be a little bit longer than the usual minute-and-a-half reel because this is important stuff, so stick with me. Okay, so let's start off with what is melatonin. Melatonin is the sleep hormone. It is produced or released by the pineal gland, which is here. It is a hormone released by the body to help us sleep. Now, at a very simple level, when cortisol, which is the stress hormone, goes up for whatever reason, if you're stressed or your child's stressed, it drives melatonin down, okay? So that's first and foremost to understand. Now, why does that happen? Well, back in the day, I love to talk about when we were hunter-gatherers, because we have evolved based on our evolution from being hunter-gatherers. Back in the day, we would see the sun, and when we saw the sun, it would drive cortisol up because that showed the body, right, you've got to get up, you've got to get out, you've got to forage, you've got to hunt. So we needed a certain amount of cortisol to enable us to do that. And in order for that cortisol to be produced, melatonin would have to go down because we don't want to be sleepy if we're hunting, right? So then what happens is, as the day goes on and the sun starts getting lower in the sky, it shows the body, it regulates the body via all these chemical reactions to start reducing cortisol. And once the cortisol starts going down, the body starts producing, releasing more melatonin. So melatonin goes up. Now, we have a few issues here. Hopefully I remember all of them. So the first one being that there are many things that cause melatonin to drop and cortisol to rise, okay? One of the first ones is just the artificial light, right? So one of the first main things that drives cortisol up after dark or towards dark is artificial light and blue light, artificial blue light, basically. So imagine we were hunter-gatherers. We didn't see light other than red firelight after dark. We only saw the sunshine. So if our modern now bodies recognize light overhead, the chemical reaction is, oh, it's sunlight, I need to hunt or forage, I need my cortisol to be higher, boom, it goes up, driving melatonin down, right? So the second LED lights or fluorescent lights go on in the house, screens, TV, iPhones, iPads, whatever it might be, that is sending cortisol up. So our first issue is that we've got kids on screens towards dark and after dark. That is driving melatonin down, right? So in the first instance, all you need to do is remove screens around bedtime, like at least an hour before bedtime. I would say like 2 hours before bedtime, for me personally. I mean, our kids don't have screens during the week and whatever, that's a whole nother subject altogether, what we do with screens. I can do another video on that. But the point is that people are looking for a quick fix a lot of the time. And I understand you're just trying to help your kids sleep, right? But there is no quick fix to this. If we want our kids to sleep, we have to do the things for their bodies that are going to enable these hormones to work properly. Now, the reason we don't want synthetic melatonin, it can be very dangerous. A bit like when you start taking thyroxine, levothyroxine for thyroid problems, it teaches the body to stop producing it itself. The same is true for melatonin. So you can take melatonin on a one-off if you're flying, doing a long-haul flight, and you need to sleep through the flight because of the jet lag and time difference and all of that, that's fine, once or twice a year. But as soon as you start taking melatonin regularly, the body actually stops producing it properly on its own. So you come across a whole range of other problems then. Your child will grow up not actually knowing how to regulate their circadian rhythm. And that's dangerous, in my opinion. It's also synthetic, right? So we don't want to put anything synthetic in the body because 70% of us have a gene mutation called MTHFR, whereby this gene stops us from being able to methylate or convert these toxins, the vitamins and minerals into what they need to be. The body actually turns it into a toxin. So anything synthetic, the body doesn't know the liver doesn't know what to do with that, and it just kind of converts it into a toxin that then it kind of just enables more toxic load, or helps build up that toxic load in the child's body. So those are kind of the main issues. So what we want to be doing is remembering, number one, we don't want synthetic anything. Number two, we want to be driving down cortisol. So any stress relief, stress management practices you can do with your kids, do them. Singing, dancing, writing, keep helping your kids journal, talking, breath work, meditation, music, and removing screens and removing any artificial blue light after dark. These things are going to be key, as well as obviously removing sugar, reducing especially sugar towards the later part of the day, and simple carbohydrates and kind of trans fats and all those foods. Just by implementing those small things, you will see a shift in your child's sleep patterns and their circadian rhythm. The idea here is we have to enable their circadian rhythms to respond properly, and they're not at the moment because we're giving too many stresses. There are just too many stresses in their way, like come home, here's a screen, here's some sugar, continue watching the screen after dark. A lot of people believe that the screens are helping the child regulate, and I don't doubt that that is the case, but if we want to help their long-term health, we have to find other ways to help our children regulate. We can't rely on screens to do that, because the screens are having detrimental effect in other ways. For example, their sleep. And there is nothing more important than helping your child regulate their circadian rhythm so that they can have a proper, good quality sleep, because without that good quality sleep, what's also happening is that's affecting immune function. So you'll find that your child who doesn't sleep well is also more prone to illness. So I think basically that those are the main points about synthetic melatonin and why we wouldn't want to do that. If we want to go a little bit deeper, if you can hang on with me for a moment to go deep, the melatonin is released from the pineal gland, right, which is here, the third eye chakra. We call it the seat of consciousness. It is potentially the part of the human body that is the convergence place between the human body and the soul, what is beyond the human body. Pharmaceuticals, lots of screens, fluoride in toothpaste and drinking water, all these things calcify the pineal gland. This isn't conspiracy theory, this is true, this is fact. So if we're calcifying the pineal gland, the thing that actually helps us regulate stress and regulate fear levels, regulate anxiety, regulate sleep, then what's actually going to happen? So the idea is that we don't need to find a pill that is synthetic to remedy this. We need to find ways to mitigate the effects of modern life, that the effects of modern life are having on our children, in more natural ways to be able to help them find ways through it naturally. So that's what I would suggest, and why I do not recommend synthetic melatonin for your kids or for you, for the exact same reasons. So let me know if you need any more tips or guidance or advice on this, and I'll post some other ideas in the captions. Okay.